What if the fourth kind isn't just a pseudo-documentary about alien abduction, but a psychological experiment in fear, guilt, and human vulnerability? The story claims to be real, but the terror lies in how belief and doubt collide, how memory fractures under the weight of trauma, and how authority, scientific or otherwise, can amplify our fear rather than soothe it. At first glance, the film appears simple, a series of alleged abductions in Nome, Alaska, with Dr. Abigail Tyler guiding her patients through hypnotic regression to recover lost memories. But this surface narrative is a scaffolding carefully designed to destabilize. The archival footage, split screens, and reenactments are not gimmicks. They are instruments that fracture our trust in reality, forcing us to inhabit a world where every frame is both evidence and question. Dr. Abigail Tyler, played with meticulous control by Mila Jovovich, is the emotional and rational axis of the film. On the surface, she is a psychologist committed to uncovering truth through hypnosis. But beneath this professional veneer, Abigail is a woman confronting her own limits. The terror in her eyes as she watches patients describe impossible events, the levitating ceiling fan, the cold emptiness in the room, the sudden blackouts, is not just scripted fear. It is the representation of a rational mind faced with phenomena that defy explanation. Her line, "Something is here," whispered after a patient's final regression, carries the weight of disbelief breaking under reality, or the perception of it. The patients themselves reveal the most intimate horror. Matthew, Nancy, and others are conduits of fear. Their experiences, loss of time, missing hours, inability to recall actions, mirror documented cases of sleep paralysis and dissociative episodes. The film's use of hypnotic regression sessions is not merely narrative device. It is a study in how the mind reconstructs memory under duress. When Matthew's voice trembles, recalling a gray figure in the corner, the scene communicates more than an alien encounter. It communicates the terror of helplessness, the anxiety of violated personal boundaries, and the fragile distinction between external and internal threats. The narrative structure is deliberately destabilizing. Scenes oscillate between supposedly archival footage and dramatized reenactments. Split-screen therapy sessions showing both hypnotist and patient are staged to heighten believability while exposing the mechanics of trauma recovery. One patient recalls, "They took me, I was gone," and the film freezes on Abigail's intense gaze. In that instant, the audience experiences not only suspense but moral disorientation. How much of what we see is real? How much is shaped by suggestion, expectation, or the unconscious mind? Symbolically, the film operates on multiple levels. Alien abduction becomes a metaphor for trauma, the human mind violated, controlled, and interrogated by forces beyond comprehension. The recurring motif of the frozen landscape of Nome emphasizes isolation, not just geographically, but psychologically. The town becomes a character in itself, a mirror to the characters, helplessness, and to the audience's growing anxiety. Memory and guilt intertwine. Recovered recollections are not pure truth, but a blend of experience, fear, and suggestion. Authority, the hypnotist, the supposed scientific evidence, even the film itself, is constantly at odds with personal experience, questioning whether we can ever trust what we see or even what we feel. From a production standpoint, Olatunde Osunsami's direction in 2009 leaned into ethical ambiguity. Marketed as based on real events, the film sparked debate over credibility, marketing ethics, and the nature of horror itself. Universal Pictures supported a campaign that featured interviews presented as factual, missing persons references, and staged archival footage, all intended to blur the line between documentary and dramatization. Critics largely condemned the film for its marketing tactics, but audiences responded viscerally. The realism was unsettling precisely because it exploited our natural tendency to believe evidence presented as objective. The film is situated within a lineage of found footage and faux documentary horror, joining the Blair Witch Project and Paranormal Activity, but with a more cerebral, psychologically oriented edge. Several grounded theories emerge when analyzing the evidence. The alien abductions can be understood as psychological projections of trauma and anxiety. The patient's behaviors, screaming in regression, sudden blackouts, reports of missing time, parallel sleep paralysis, hypnagogic hallucinations, and dissociative disorders documented in real psychological research. Dr. Tyler serves as a vessel for the audience's confrontation with fear, a rational mind forced to navigate the unexplainable, struggling to reconcile scientific methodology with personal belief and moral responsibility. The aliens themselves operate metaphorically, intruding into consciousness rather than merely physical space. Even the archival footage is carefully edited to manipulate perception, showing how framing, context, and visual suggestion can shape belief. Emotionally, the film interrogates complicity and fear. What happens when we accept the unexplainable as truth? When terror is much a product of our own minds as an external force, belief itself becomes dangerous. The true horror may not be extraterrestrial, but human susceptibility. Our minds, fractured by trauma, guilt, and isolation, can become both witnesses and participants in events that may not exist outside perception. The line between observer and participant, rationality and fear, collapses. The fourth kind demands we rethink our understanding of horror and reality. Every hypnotic session, every archival clip, every patient reaction is designed to unsettle, not through spectacle, but through identification. Abigail's eyes, wide with both professional concern and personal terror, are a mirror for the audience. A reminder that the most profound fear is not what lurks outside, but what lies within. Memory, guilt, and the fragile architecture of consciousness itself. If you've ever doubted the power of perception, the film forces confrontation. If you've ever questioned whether trauma can be externalized or whether memory can betray you, the film offers no comfort. Watch the archival footage again. Listen to the hypnotic regressions. Notice how Abigail's composure fractures in private moments, how Noam isolates and exposes. Then ask yourself, who or what is truly abducted? The patients, the doctor, or perhaps the audience itself? Share your interpretations, your fears, and your theories below. Like, subscribe, and immerse yourself in this study of cinematic ambiguity, where horror is as much about what we think we know as what we cannot explain. Until next time,